All right, good morning, everyone. This is Thursday, June 25th. Pastor Joel here with a daily devotional. And just trying a couple of new things today. I'm going to try to share my screen. And also, there was a poll that I thought I had created, and now I don't see it. So, anyway, as you're getting ready there, I'm going to see, oh, here's the poll tab. Let me just see. Yeah, it's there. So, how do I post this, guys? How do I get it up there on the screen? Create a poll. I've done it. Okay, so all right, if you guys know how to do that, put a little comment in there. And anyways, you'll be getting a Three Things Thursday shortly if you're on our newsletter list. And we are, oh, publish it says. Okay, here we go. I'm publishing a poll. And you would have also gotten an email earlier this week showing that we're reopening our building. Our church obviously never closed. We've things have been happening online. We have more people praying than ever before. We have two weekly prayer meetings, and a few more people. Several, I think 4, 5, maybe 6 people have joined life groups that weren't in one before, and so things are still happening. And so we're not reopening our church, but we're reopening our building. You can be part of a test run in July, and then August will be up to the maximum of 50 people, unless regulations change at that time. And so I'm just wondering, hey, are you guys ready to come to the building for watch parties? Essentially, what it is instead of watching in your room, in your living room, with your own family or by yourself, you can come and watch church online in a large group with all of us, big screen, keeping 2 meters distance, and we'll sanitize our hands. We will there'll be some screening questionnaire. Masks are available for whoever wants them. So are you ready to come back to the building for watch parties in August? And I'm just trying this poll here and see what you think of that. So I think that's kind of exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing some of you in person. Good morning, Bonnie. I see that you've joined. That's awesome. So today I want to look at Jeremiah chapter 29, verse not 11. That's pretty much the verse everyone goes to, right? Jeremiah 29, verse 11. I want to look at a few verses earlier in the chapter. I've got it up on my other screen here. It's Jeremiah chapter 29, verses 4 to 7. This is part of a letter to the exiles. The people in God's people had been carried away from their homeland, and everything had been destroyed, and so they're living in another culture with a different religion and other gods, and foreigners. Everything they knew had been taken away and destroyed. So they're living in this other foreign, pagan land, and here's this message for them. And it begins with these verses. It says, "This is what the Lord Almighty, the God of Israel, says to all those I carried into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon: build houses and settle down, plant gardens and eat what they produce." So you might imagine that God would have a message for them saying, don't get too comfortable. I'm going to bring you back. This is just temporary. But he says, build houses and settle down. Plant gardens and eat what they produce. So it kind of sounds like this is going to be a little while. Verse 6, marry and have sons and daughters. Find wives for your sons and give your daughters in marriage so that they too may have sons and daughters. Increase in number there, do not decrease. And so God is really asking them to settle down, make some roots, get your families established, and thrive in this foreign culture where you're not even allowed to worship at the temple. And then verse 7, he says, also, seek the peace and prosperity of the city to which I have carried you into exile. So that's a different city. That's a city that in their minds had been against God all these times. And so God is asking them to seek the peace and prosperity of this pagan city to which I've carried you into exile. Pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you too will prosper. So the peace and prosperity, this is the Jewish word shalom, and it encompasses more than just a break from war, and more than just that kind of a peace, but there's kind of a welfare for the city, a well-being. There's just a healthy city, a healthy health. So shalom. Seek the peace and prosperity of the city to which I've carried you into exile. And so I want to encourage you to do the same for our city here in Winnipeg. Not that you're here in exile, although maybe you might feel, if you came here from another country or another province, maybe you do feel that you're here in exile. However, God says, seek the peace and prosperity of the city to which you've called you. He says this to the exiles, and I think we can use this for ourselves today too. Pray to the Lord so seek the peace and prosperity of Winnipeg. Okay, pray to the Lord for Winnipeg, because if Winnipeg prospers, you too will prosper. And so I want to encourage you to take some time to stop thinking about yourselves and the situation that you're in, and to think of our city. And let's spend some time praying. Let's do this regularly if you haven't been doing this already. Seek for the prosperity of the city. It wasn't that long ago, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe less, when Winnipeg was deemed the most racist city in Canada. Studies were done, and they were looking at social media posts and different things that were kind of the attitudes of people, and we were deemed as the most racist city. I'm sure that didn't sit well with many of us, and maybe we didn't even believe that, because we have the first black police chief in Canada was Devon Clunas, our police chief here in Winnipeg. He's retired, but at that time, and now our mayor, Brian Bowman, he's Métis, and so it seems like we would be on the cutting edge of this anti-racism, but racism is alive and well in our city, and other people have recognized it. And maybe we're not the most racist city, but I'm not going to argue for that or against that. But that's just one of the things that we could be praying into, and be praying for, be praying against, for the peace and prosperity of our city. There's another thing, just another idea, and supposedly I'm able to share my screen. So how do I do that here? Just give me a second. These are all things I probably should have learned. Screen share status. Doesn't look like it's available right now. Bummer. Stream. The button is sorry, not highlighted. Not a problem. What I was going to do is show you the Winnipeg Free Press. Some of you maybe get the paper copy. I have an online version. So if you go to Winnipeg Free Press, and then here's a great way for you to seek the peace and prosperity of Winnipeg. Just look at some of the articles in the news. Above the fold, right at the top news in the Winnipeg Free Press today says Portage and Main Underground, where you walk underground and you have to get across the street, is not up to code on barrier-free access. And so we can't really go across Portage and Main above ground because of all the blockades, and even underground, it's not. Many people just can't do that because it's not up to code. And so anyways, that's one thing you could pray into that. You could pray for wisdom for people to speed this along, and so that people who have some sort of mobility issues can easily cross the street. Or you can keep praying into wisdom for whether they should open above ground, Portage and Main. That's been a thing. And then there's other ones too. There's fires that are happening, apartment fires. You can pray for the safety of those people. I wish I could just show you the screen and some of these things. And so the Pan Am Clinic wins a Stanley Cup of research, and so you could praise God for that, and ask God to continue to bring research and researchers, and to continue help with in the health area. Winnipeg-based LibreSteam invented mobile collaboration technology, and so obviously mobile technology can be used for good or for evil, but this is a praise. You could say, hey, thank God for what is happening here, and it's even helping with the coronavirus. So you can look into these things. So you just look through some of these things, and you don't always have to focus on the negative stuff, but there always are. It wasn't that long ago we were also known as the murder capital of Canada. Are we still? I'm not sure, but we can be praying for the peace and prosperity of our streets. There are gangs that are absorbing people that come in who are kind of detached, and giving them a sense of community. We can be praying for other ways for young people to find community. So just look through the Winnipeg Free Press and spend a few minutes each day praying for the peace and prosperity of our city. So anyways, I just wanted to leave you with that. Sometimes it helps us to get our eyes off of ourselves, and sometimes if we focus too much on ourselves, then we start feeling bad or down or depressed or distressed. And so let's look out and leave it to God and pray. Seek the peace and prosperity. Jeremiah 29 verse 4, chapter 29 verse 7. Seek the peace and prosperity of Winnipeg, of the city to which I have carried you into exile. Pray to the Lord for Winnipeg. Pray to the Lord for it, because if Winnipeg prospers, you too will prosper. So why don't we, I just want to encourage you to do that. And also, this is the last Facebook Live devotional for a while. Pastor Sam finished up Ephesians on Tuesday. So if you missed that, you can always go to the Facebook Live tab and see the old ones, or it's on YouTube, and go there and watch it. And then, and so yesterday my son graduated from grade 12, so we didn't do a live devotional, and today will be the last one for a while. I'm going on vacation starting next week for a few weeks, and so we'll take a break, and we may pick this up again later, or we may not. That will be to be decided later. Anyways, there's a poll there, I think, on your screen. I'm not sure if it's working. Let us know if you are, you'd be willing or ready to come back to do live watch parties in August. Okay, so we will see you again sometime. Hope to see you in person really soon. Okay, bye.